Okay, as far as groundbreaking news is concerned, basically we have just learned that Devil May Cry, the original game that came out back in '01, will be coming to Nintendo Switch in the second quarter of 2019. As it currently stands, we don't have an official release date for the original Devil May Cry game, but this game was really big back in the early 2000s, and the fact that it's appearing on the Switch console is historic, since it will mark the first game in the Devil May Cry series to have ever appeared on a Nintendo console, because back in the day, we never got to see any Devil May Cry games for GameCube or the Wii or the Wii U. So this is a first, and basically, for those who never got a chance to play it on the PS2 back in the early 2000s, or on the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, a part of the HD collection in the early part of the teens decade, I believe it was 2012, you'll have a chance to play it on Nintendo Switch later this year. And if I'm not mistaken, the HD collection also came out this past year for the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. But the thing is, it's a bit surprising that Capcom didn't just go and bring the entire, HD collection to the Nintendo Switch. But, considering the fact that, first-party games tend to stand out more on the Switch, such as Super Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and others, maybe Capcom wants to see how the original Devil May Cry game will do on the Nintendo Switch before they decide to release any more Devil May Cry games on the hybrid console. Also, you also learned that the Devil May Cry game will also be available digitally on Nintendo Switch. There'll be no hard copies of the game. And honestly, I think it's pretty smart, considering the fact that a lot of people are downloading and streaming games more and more nowadays. And, a lot of, it's more convenient. A lot of people don't want to go through the trouble of actually having to go to the store and pick up, a hard copy of a game, especially if it's one that's really old, despite how good it may be, or basically going to the store to get the hard copy of a game, only to find that there's a download code that you have to just go and plug in or whatever. It's just, it's just more convenient having it as a downloadable as opposed to having, hard copies of games and all that stuff. But as far as, Devil May Cry is concerned, a lot of people like the original game, and the fact that it's coming to the Switch is something that is historic, and there's no doubt that there's going to be a lot of eyes on that title, especially considering the fact that it'll probably be one of the biggest action-adventure games that's, third-party, that'll be on the Nintendo Switch of 2019. And as far as whether or not, the other games, the other Devil May Cry games will come to the Switch, such as the most recent entry, Devil May Cry 5, which a lot of people are pushing to see on Nintendo Switch. As far as that becoming a reality is concerned, a lot of people are still, uncertain whether or not Capcom is going to make that move. So I guess we'll have to wait and see throughout the year whether or not Capcom decides to bring any more Devil May Cry games to the Switch in the near future. But as it currently stands, the original Devil May Cry game on the Switch console is definitely something worth checking out.